Hi everyone, so welcome back, or if you're new here, I'm Damaris and I created Rainbow Vegans Rock. So I've wanted to do this video for a while really. I just wanted to take it back to basics really, so how to get started with zero waste. So I think I've got maybe 6 tips on how to get started. So first of all, I would say just remember that there's only so much that we can do. Big corporations and factories, the companies that are truly polluting our environment, they do have a lot to answer for. And there's only so much that we can do as consumers to help this. But of course that doesn't mean that we don't have to do anything. We can put pressure on these companies and we can sign petitions and just basically try put pressure on the government, all of that sort of thing, to try and make if you look at it as a bigger picture type thing, that's the sort of things that, you know, we can do. But anyway, I will move on to the next one. So make the little swaps, things that you use on a daily basis. So for example, if you're one to take a bottle of water to work, for example, or you like to grab a coffee on the way to work, or it's your weekly treat, whatever, then choosing a reusable coffee cup would make it worthwhile. Choosing like a stainless steel reusable water bottle would definitely make it worthwhile, and it's just changing your habits so that you remember to do that. So you remember to fill up your water bottle before you leave, or you remember to grab your coffee cup if you plan to get coffee. I know things have been a little bit different with COVID. I think I've heard that some places have been a bit wary about letting people use their reusable coffee containers lately, but in normal circumstances obviously this is something that you can do. So just think about the things that you do on a daily basis and whether there is a sustainable swap for it, is my advice. So for short journeys, avoid driving. I know it's not always possible depending on where you live or your health, etc, etc, but just trying to walk and cycle as much as you can just does help our environment. So I recently found out that in my village, the local post office, you can cash in money and you can do a lot of general banking things there, which means that I can avoid using the car and driving. So I'm all for that. And if you've got a situation where you think I could do with going to the shop, is it in walking distance? Could you cycle? Of course, if you can't, then that's absolutely fine. You know, you can only do what you can, but it just makes a big difference if you can get on your bike and cycle instead. So what you need to remember is everything does have a carbon footprint. So sometimes I think people forget that when you're ordering something online, for example, they don't always consider where it's coming from. So if you're ordering something that is coming from, say, France or Hong Kong or wherever, then that has shipping miles. So that has an environmental impact because it has to be sent to us. And it's not only that, it's the whole process as well. So even if you're ordering something, say you're in the UK and you're ordering something from an online shop, you do have to try and consider that actually, where was this manufactured? Did it already have a distance to travel to get to the store where I'm buying it from? It's something that people don't always think about, but I try and consider it as much as possible. And if I can find something that's been made here in the UK, then I will. Not always, like I say all the way through this isn't always possible, but it's just being more mindful and thinking about the whole process from manufacture to getting to you. Like I said, everything has a carbon footprint, so I've discussed this I think on my channel before, but I always look for second-hand things first and foremost. So if I'm looking for something, I will see if somebody else is selling it on Facebook Marketplace or on eBay or wherever. I will always look there first to see if I can get it second-hand or refurbished, or you know, something that's already in circulation that I can buy it that way. So I would just recommend that. This might be quite an obvious one, but you know, second-hand clothes is a great way to pick up a bargain, and also something that is more environmentally friendly because the damage is kind of done. So obviously, to make a new item of clothing, there's, depending on the material, there's a lot of water that goes into it. So the overall carbon footprint of the item, if it's new, is obviously a lot more. But if you are in the need of something, an item of clothing, and you get it second-hand, so it's just better environmentally to buy something that is second-hand, because you're not triggering the process of a new one to be manufactured because you have bought the item new in a shop or whatever. So environmentally, it's just always better to get second-hand, and that's why zero wasters and sustainable living influencers, YouTubers, bloggers, this is why we all thrift, we all go to charity shops and pick up bargains for the home, clothes, everything really. This is just such a big one. I thought I would just mention because I think that is quite important. So I think I may have touched on this before, but I'm not sure. So everybody knows the 3 R's, which is reduce, reuse and recycle, but sometimes people forget that it's in that particular order that things need to be done. You know, I've seen a lot of greenwashing on various things like shampoo, conditioner, and they'll put recyclable all over the packaging, and you think, oh great, but we don't actually want something that is recyclable because the whole process is extremely flawed. So I've watched a few documentaries about the plastic process before, and it's actually quite interesting, but the thing that always comes up in these documentaries is that the single-use plastic, you know, the clear flimsy plastic, is not recyclable, so that has to go to landfill regardless. And the things that are recyclable, a lot of the time it's actually cheaper for them to produce completely new plastic than it is to actually reuse the recycled plastic. Now obviously a lot of companies were way ahead of their time with recycling, and Lush is one of them. Lush has been brilliant. They've always had their black pot scheme in place, where if you return 5 empty black pots, then you get a free face mask. But I think I saw somebody say recently, I don't remember who it was one of the YouTubers I was watching, and she said that actually there's only a small percentage of people that actually return the black pots. So even though this scheme is in place and everything, I want to say it was maybe 20 or 30% of the black pots actually get returned at all, and that's even with the incentive that they have in place. So recycling is, unfortunately, is not the answer. Just avoiding plastic altogether is the way to go. But people seem to forget this because it's reduce, reuse and then recycle if there's no other option. It's a difficult one because recycling, when people think of environmental issues, saving the planet, it's the first thing that people think, oh, it's just coming back to me now. I watched a Shel Bizzle video recently where she discusses this, the problem with recycling and everything. And it's so true. If you say the environment to everyone, they immediately think recycling. But a lot of people in the zero waste world know that recycling is not the answer, unfortunately. So first of all, reducing what we're buying, being more mindful about what we buy, making sure that we do really need it. And next step is reuse. Is there something that you have that you could use for this purpose? You know, if you happen to buy something that was in a plastic container, can you reuse the container, repurpose, you know, that sort of thing. And then finally, if there's absolutely no option, then recycling is what you can do. So it's something to be aware of when you're starting out in zero waste or just trying to live a more sustainable lifestyle in general. If you just remember these, I think it's 6 tips, that's a good starting point. Now, if you like this sort of content, please do like and subscribe. Leave me a comment if there's anything you think I may have missed. There probably will be. And I'll see you on the next one.